Predators of Legend. Transcript of Xenobiology tutor Hydrex's lecture about the royal larvae on predators of legend. Entered into the record of competency hearing of the competency hearing of Crown Prince Hydraulic Stoll. I think I'm saying that right. Hydraulic Stoll. The recording system was not arranged correctly to catch the prince's question. Every speaking race has one, a parasitic predator unique to their species that is just subtle enough and just rare enough that they can never quite prove it exists. It's only when they meet some other species with a different sensory profile and different weaknesses, a mixture that makes them both immune to and able to detect the first race's predator, that the race learns the truth behind their legends. The Alex have their dream eaters. The Corandrums have their shadow wraiths. The Trunts have their bog dogs. The humans have their vampires. When most species learn that their legendary predator does exist, they generally do their best to leave it stranded on their home planet. Some species have more success than others. There are many former colonies quarantined over partial failures. Some failed before they even knew they needed to try, and choose to keep company with members of other species that can see their predator. This is the basis of most brother-by-oath interspecies alliances. I can kill your predator, and you can kill mine. The humans are the only race to have brought their predator to the stars with them on purpose. The poor man's nuclear option, they call it. A starving vampire is a massacre. A vampire with a vendetta is a genocide. Yeah, the vampires can only live on human blood, but they're strong enough to kill pretty much any other species, and a vampire at full strength can turn quasi-material enough to kill even the least substantial types of other species. Predators. Sunlight or radiation leak will weaken a vampire enough that it can be killed, but this only gives you a fighting chance. It doesn't guarantee victory. Even a weakened vampire is still significantly stronger than a human, with a human's intelligence and versatility. That sunlight weakness of vampires might be why humans are the one species that can sometimes detect and kill their own legendary predator. Or it might be that every vampire was once a human. Yeah, that was my reaction too. Every other species, their predator is inherently other. The human's predator appears to be an optionally metamorphic dead-end stage of the human life cycle. The problem with this predator of predators that the humans call vampire being formerly human is that humans are, among their myriad attributes, the single most vindictive species you never hope to cross. If they can't stop you from killing them, or at least make sure you die in the doing, they will burn their own homes and glass their own worlds to keep you from profiting by their death. Some call it spite, but it's something far beyond spite. Something best summed up as never again. In a twisted sort of way, it's protective. All this destruction they wreak is to keep you from preying on any innocents after them. The bastard offspring of spite and love. Jealousy. That's the word I'm looking for. Took me a while to figure it out because so many humans say jealous when the correct word would be envious. So, humans are an extraordinarily jealous species. For love or for spite, they take care of their own. The reason they insist on explicit treaties and written contracts, it's not that they're dishonorable, seeking a letter of laws in which to find loopholes. It's that they know they will rend the heavens and raise the earth to avenge any betrayal of trust implicit. Their jealousy isn't entirely a bad thing. A human who calls you heartkin will turn stars from their courses in order to rescue you from a tight spot, or to avenge you, if rescue comes too late. Allying with humans is, admittedly, as they put it, the poor man's nuclear option. What? No. The only way to conquer a group of humans is to make yourself their conqueror. If you can't understand the distinction, well, may you get what you deserve fast enough that the rest of us don't get glassed. Anyway, most vampires are fond of their humans and a bit overprotective as a result. And humans are often a bit fond of their vampires. There was a time, long since past, when humans were all horrified by the thought of drinking human blood and regarded the vampires as an abomination to be exterminated. But then the humans discovered that if one of their wounded was dying from loss of blood, they could inject the blood from other humans and keep him alive. Yes, they have blood substitutes now. But since their hemoglobin does a lot more than just transport oxygen, none of those substitutes work very well. And before they mastered gene splicing, they had a variety of hereditary diseases that made the human who had the disease require regular infusions of blood or blood component collected from other humans to survive. So the humans have come to regard vampirism as, a pathology that happens to have some useful secondary symptoms. No, even humans who are phobic about needles or who faint at the sight of blood might show up for one of their blood drives after a major disaster. They rarely have to resort to their less effective blood substitutes. Vampires have no trouble finding willing blood donors in exchange for lending a hand to those tasks where brute force really is the best solution. You can't beat a vampire for brute force in a confined space. The human predator walks openly among its not exactly prey, regarded sort of as an older brother, who's a bit of a jerk at times, but who can be counted on to beat the stuffing out of anyone who threatens the family. Don't even think about going vampire hunting unless the humans are begging for any and all help in putting down a rabbit. What? What? Have you been listening to a single word I said? Is there nothing but slimy and mealworms where your brain should be? Going to war with humans is suicide. Even a solitary atom of silicon has more intelligence than that. I'd do better to replace all the emergency oxygen candles with carbon monoxide generators. I might as well go swimming in a lead overcoat as allow you to launch a traitorous armada. I'd be as well served to give you a barrel of foof. What is foof? To play with a sponsor. Sponsor this self-defeating invasion. No, I'd be better served to give you a barrel of foof to play with. Play with? Okay, what is foof? With the foof, we'd both be dead at once with most of the rest of the planet spared. Do I really need to transcribe all 14 hours of this rant? Even if he technically manages to never repeat himself, it's going to get pretty repetitive.